Today, we're diving into something a little different. A rare personality type that just doesn't seem to fit into any of the usual boxes. It was actually described by the philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer. So if you've ever felt like a walking contradiction, well, this might just be for you. We all know these labels, right? We use them all the time to kind of make sense of ourselves and everyone else. Are you an introvert or an extrovert, a thinker or a feeler? They're nice, clean categories. And you know what? For a lot of people, they work just fine. But what if those boxes just feel way too small? What happens when you take a test and the results are totally contradictory? What if you feel like you're both and neither, all at the same time? This is a personality that's really defined by its contrasts. We're talking deeply sensitive, but also remarkably detached, profoundly caring, but also fiercely independent. It's the kind of person that has always sort of slipped through the cracks of conventional psychology. Now, here's the interesting thing. Schopenhauer, he wasn't a psychologist, he was a philosopher. But he wrote with this incredible precision about a very specific kind of person, someone whose whole relationship with reality is just different. And his descriptions, they're almost uncannily accurate. So what we're going to do is walk through the 6 signs that he described. Now think of this less like a diagnosis and more like a map. A map for self-reflection, especially if you've never really found a description that felt like it was talking about you. He pointed to 6 core signs, these sort of uncomfortable truths that really define this personality. Let's start with number 1. So the first sign is that you don't just prefer solitude or connection, you have a genuine need for both of them. It's not like a spectrum where you lean one way. Nope. You need that deep, restorative solitude, but you also need that profound, true connection with other people. And this is exactly why the most draining thing for this personality isn't being alone, and it isn't being with people, it's that shallow middle ground. You know, small talk, surface-level stuff. That whole performance of being social is just exhausting because it gives you neither real solitude nor real connection. Okay, sign number 2 is all about perception. It's this almost involuntary ability to just see through social performance. It's not a choice you make, and it's not a judgment. It's more like your brain is just tuned to a different frequency, and you can't help but notice the gap between the face someone puts on and what's really going on underneath. And this is the key to why social situations can be so tiring. It's not the people, it's the constant, conscious effort of navigating a social reality. A performance that everyone else seems to be taking at face value while you're sitting there seeing all the strings. Sign number 3 can be really confusing from the outside looking in. It's this major contrast in your energy. You can have almost bottomless drive for things that feel deeply meaningful to you, a project, a cause, something real. But for the normal markers of success, you might just feel nothing, a strange indifference. And let's be super clear here. This isn't some kind of act. It's just that things like status, money, or external awards, they just don't create that internal feeling that makes all the effort feel worth it. The why behind what you're doing matters so much more than the prize at the end. Sign number 4, this one is a huge internal tension. You are somehow both a hardcore realist and a diehard idealist at the same time. You see the world with this stark, unflinching clarity, how systems really work, the flaws in people, all the uncomfortable truths. You are not living in a fantasy. But at the exact same time, you hold on to this intense, unshakable vision of what the world could be. So the 5th sign is all about the massive gap between your inner and outer worlds. On the surface, you might seem pretty reserved, quiet, maybe even ordinary. You don't perform your inner life for an audience. But internally, there's this incredibly complex, rich, and deep world that very, very few people ever get to see. For Schopenhauer, this was a central insight. The outer life, your career, your social status, that was often just a concession you made to the world. The real life, the true life, the one that was being most fully lived, that was the one happening inside your own mind. And that brings us to the final sign, number 6. This one can be tough to put into words, but it's a feeling that's always there. It's not some grand, defined mission. It's more like a low-level sense of direction, a quiet hum in the background that's always telling you there's something specific you're here to do or to become. This feeling, it doesn't come from your logical brain. It comes from somewhere deeper. It's the part of you that knows your true north. Even when your conscious mind is just spinning with doubt and confusion, it's an internal compass that, over time, you've learned is actually worth trusting. So, after hearing all that, if a lot of it started to sound familiar, if it resonated, here is what I really want you to take away from all this. You are not broken. The way you experience the world with all of its intensity and all of its contradictions, it's not a flaw. It's not something that needs to be fixed. You are not too much. You are not somehow failing to be a simpler, easier version of yourself just for the convenience of other people. Here's the point. You are a specific type of person, and when you can finally understand what you are, you can stop wasting all that energy trying to be something you're not. And that frees up all that energy for a much, much more important question, a question that only you can answer. With all of this complexity and all this depth and this unique way of seeing the world, what is the thing that is actually yours to do?